is allow someone to, at this point, have a digital passport, but way more dynamic than the one that just allows you to go in and out of countries. Really, that passport contains your friends and your families, your real connection, your real identity. It contains your interests, your likes, and then it also has your actions. And it keeps this through a very long period of time. So there's people in the site that have it for years at this point. So what I'm looking into right now is really, how can you take this passport into a lot of different industries and verticals and positively disrupt it? If you look at the space, for example, of Facebook, its first killer application was photos. And it really had a very simple photo mechanism compared to other apps out there. All it did is it had social included, you could tag people, and it became the #1 photo site in the world. Now you see a lot of other industries also transformed. An example has been gaming, which was discussed here before. For example, with Zynga and others. You had Nexion, you had EA Arts creating traditional games, then you had these companies within a year or so really reach close to 300 million people actively playing these games. And there's a bunch of others coming up. So what I'm looking at right now is any type of vertical that really can utilize and get disrupted positively in a fast way by this identity graph. So examples of it is mobile related. I'm looking at also e-commerce at this point, and of course gaming and entertainment distribution, sort of basically a lot of these verticals that you're seeing popping up. The ones that are also of interest to me are the ones that are not yet so popular, but I think are very positive for society overall, is things like healthcare, education, really sort of the concept of charity and causes and political activism and involvement. There's a lot of interesting things that can truly get impacted.
When you were watching from the peripheral the coup d'etats that have happened in the world, and a lot of it has used Facebook and Twitter and social tools out there, does that excite you in the aspect where you see you're making movement, your platform that you help create is making movement, or do you just think this is just another tool in the way that's changing the world?
I'm frankly very humbled and very excited because, I'm just as a view. Facebook and other platforms like this are of course very neutral, but it really allows individuals to have, sort of the power of getting the message across. In some ways, it's democratizing voice. It's not necessarily, we're not eyeballs, right? We're really going to become active. And, a random person in a country could say something and it can get distributed to hundreds of millions of people.
Have you heard this term, Internet Nation?
What is it?
Have you ever heard of this term, the Internet Nation, Internet Nations?
I've heard the description that we're sort of creating nations.
How would you define that?
Meaning it's just sort of the idea that in a lot of ways we are building sort of in some ways like a country. There's norms, there's policies, there's the way that sort of the people utilize the system. But the thing is, for example, with Facebook, it's growing so fast. Hundreds of millions of people a year. It's very difficult to really understand how to sort of structure it, how to educate, right? Because that's a big problem as well. Sort of people talk about privacy because we're now becoming active and our identity's online. How do we manage that is also quite critical, and it's education as well. There's a lot of things, and typically those are the types of things a nation helps provide to its citizens as well.